Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 2nd of June 2020. I hope you all managed to grab the new product key and get that put into the software so everything is working nicely today. Today is actually, rather yesterday was the first day that we were moving over to the new licensing system at Pipnotic, so I hope everyone managed to get that working. If not, let me know and I'd be completely thrilled to jump on and have a look and get you organized. All right, today we're just going to have a look at some trades. We're going to base some information on some currency strength readings and then see what's moving generally this week. So if we have a look at the longer term data, which is over here, you can see that we have the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc, which are the strong ones, moving down. So this is giving us an indication that we have seen a lot of flows move into the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc and the American dollar over the course of many weeks, and now you can see that these are starting to turn in. So this is telling us that we have a cycle that's coming to an end, and we have already started to move into a new cycle. Okay, and so the new cycle is liquidating American dollars, Japanese yen, and Swiss franc holdings. Okay, and this is just very interesting. This is also very clear when you look at the currency strength information, as you can see here. We're seeing something similar happening in the Australian dollar and the Kiwi. These two were very weak, roughly at the same time that the others reached their peaks, so here. And since then, we have seen a very clear increase in strength in these two currencies. So we've seen the flows move back into the Australian dollar and the Kiwi since these very low readings here. Okay, and you can see that this has happened since here, and then this low is just over here. And if we zoom out really far, I don't know if we'll have enough data. Let's just see quickly. Okay, so here you can see that we have that low there. It's here on the medium term, and the short term it's all the way over here. So if we mark this off, actually we can't use that because we're on the wrong time frame, but you can see that it was very low here, and this low here corresponds to this one here, which corresponds to this one. So here we can see the difference in the different time frames for the currency strength readings. And notice that here, since we were all the way down here, extremely low, note that here, let's go to I think we'll have to go on the 4-hour chart to find that. Or you can see here that this shift occurred on, so this occurred on the 9th of April. So if we go to a price chart, let's say Australian dollar, American dollar, on the 9th of April. So Aussie, American dollar, I need the 9th of April. Here, 9th of April, where are we? Okay, so we had that shift right here. So this is where we began to see, we already started to see it here, but it was visible as in the Australian dollar was the strongest currency relative to all of the others, and this happened on this day here. Price broke above, we came down, we tested it once, so the beginning of the buy zone was here, price went a little bit deeper, we actually poked into the demand, and then we left, and now we're reaching these really high levels here. See, we've poked into these 4-hour areas of supply. And above that we have daily and weekly areas nested, so we do have a lot of supply. We have a lot of selling potential above where price currently is. And so if you look at the longer term chart, let's go to the daily chart and then the weekly, you can see that we had huge sell-offs in the Australian dollar across the boards. It was the weakest currency for a period of time, and now we bottomed out. And so now you have to think about, where was their value prior to this sell-off? And value was here. And when I say value, you simply have to look at a place where price was happy trading, and you could probably actually draw a channel. I'll just try and draw one of those. I don't use this tool very much, but we'll give it a shot. We go like here to here. That's not a very good one. Let's just go from the high here to this one here. So this was like I mean, price was pretty happy trading it around these areas here. You see up and down, got a little bit high, got a little bit low. And so now we are reaching these areas here. You know what? Screw the channel. I don't use those very much. So price is returning to this area of value. Okay, when I say value, this is just simply a place where people are keen to do business. So we see prices coming down, it's moving higher, it's going down, it's moving higher, and then price left. So we created this liquidity void, this price imbalance, and price is just about returned to the price point, which was the origin of this huge inefficient move. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to that now. And what does that mean? Well, that means that price will probably find this area of fair trading, and then maybe we will begin to onboard people who are looking to maybe sell Australian dollars and buy American dollars at this price point. And there's a lot of stuff going on fundamentally with the American dollar relative to China, and so this is something that you'll also have to pay attention to. But you can see the fundamentals in the currency strength data here. Okay, so you can see that we have the Australian dollar, which is very strong. This is shorter term. Medium term, we have a really big push higher on the Australian dollar, and so this is very high. So this is unsustainable. I mean, last time we were at these levels here, we were negative 13, and currently we're at +5 or so, +4.5. Okay, so we're returning to these very high levels here. So it makes my expectation that the Australian dollar will begin to move lower again once we reach these areas of supply, so these sell zones. Okay, and you can see the same thing happening here. We had a strong dollar, now it's moving back towards the mean, and this will probably happen at roughly the same time the Australian dollar moves back into the mean, and then we'll probably see this continue to move lower and do something like that. Potentially so, unless the fundamentals change radically, and these are changing all the time, especially at the moment. So you just have to pay attention to this. But it's fair to say that when price returns to some of these areas, that we'll see a push lower. So we have this one here, which I like. I have this one here, which I also like, which is fresh. The sell zone is right there. We're testing the sell zone now. We have this one, which I like as well. And these are all nice areas of supply. And we have this one as well, which is interesting. So we do have a couple of areas that we could look for price to test. We're currently here, but we do have this one here as well, this one, and then this one. So there are a few different models for trading the Australian dollar, American dollar. But one thing you have to pay attention to is the histogram. When we start reaching these very high levels, so when price starts moving up into this positive and negative variant territory, there's a very high likelihood the price is going to have a bit of a breather before it decides to continue either higher or lower. And so looking at this, it becomes very clear. I mean, we're approaching these incredibly high levels here at a point where we have supply. Okay, so over the next couple of days, we're probably going to start to feed into here, and roughly the same time that we're reaching this positive variant territory, and then we'll see maybe price drift lower there. But these are the positions you'll have to hold for days or sometimes weeks, because it can take a long time to distribute this liquidity. And the distribution of liquidity or accumulation of liquidity for moves higher, I mean, the process does not happen quickly. It's not like price pokes up into there once and then it leaves. You have to remember, and I'll refer back to my experience doing security work with the big banks. Is one of the banks who I got to know quite well. I worked with them for over a period of about 10 years. They allowed me to look at their liquidity distribution engine, and they showed me these windows, and these windows were price windows that their clients and themselves were happy doing business. And so they would have these big, huge positions, enormous volume. When price would move into these windows, these price windows, but then they would start to fill these positions. And so maybe one day price would feed into this area, they would get a fraction of the position sold if it was a short position, and then it would move away. Then price would go a little bit higher, then they would fill more of the position, and then it would move away. And so price was kind of poking up into these areas of supply, these sell zones, over the course of several days. And so price will probably go up here, and it'll probably sit around there for maybe a week or longer, maybe a few days before it figures out what it's going to do. And your job as a trader is to identify these price sensitive areas, and then have the coolness to sit and just let it do its thing. Put the big stops, the really wide stops, so that price is able to kind of seek liquidity higher. So finding sellers, moving deeper into these pools of liquidity, which are sitting in the market, these windows of willing sellers, as price kind of pokes into those, and slowly start to fill these orders. You just have to be very patient in a situation like this. But looking at this, I think that the price is going to move a little higher and then eventually move lower. Okay, but this is what we have there. If we have a look on the long time frame, so let's have a look here on the monthly chart. If you look here on the monthly chart, you can see something that's really important, and that is we had a buy zone here, we had demand here, price poked into this demand, it left, price went through the demand, and we actually went to kind of uncharted waters. These were like very low prices. So the Australian dollar was on sale, okay, very much so, and it poked into this negative variant, and we pretty much stopped right on it, and now we're starting to move away. And so knowing that the major flows are looking to move higher, it would give you a bit of a negative bias. Sorry, it would give you a positive bias. Sorry. And this is just something you need to know. You need to know that price has already been very, very low. And so when price moves this low, I mean, a lot of people are buying. When price gets that low, we're attracting a lot of people who are looking to transact at these levels. And price has already been there. And so the next thing I'm going to say is that we have probably begun to move a lot of the flows out of the American dollar and into the Australian dollar at these very, very low price windows. I don't have any more historical data, so I can't see, but we can see that price was poked into this price nodule where we had this here. Okay, price tested it once, twice. This one tore through it. It was tested, so the buy zone becomes a low of this. Price tore through that, and it actually went down to the area that was able to consume this supply, which is around here. Okay, so price came up, slingshot was pulled back, and then we left. So you can actually argue that this here was the area of demand. Price pulled back, and then we left. Okay, and price got very close to that at a negative variant, and this is where we started to see an influx of people, institutions moving into the Australian dollar and out of the American dollar. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is very important to be aware of when price pokes into these very, very low price levels. Okay, so let's have a look now at the Kiwi. We have the Kiwi dollar here. Let's see what this looks like. It probably looks pretty similar. Yeah, it looks a little bit different, but looks pretty similar nonetheless. So we have in here we had very clear divergence, had very strong decrease in currency strength between these two, and we had an increase here. And so, I mean, the fact that this was drawn here, this is a very clear area at which we would look to sell, and we do this with confidence because the currency strength is telling us that these high prices are unsustainable relative to the currency strength of these two currencies. Okay, so when price pokes into that the first time, then we've established a sell zone. So we're selling at price levels, the high of this and higher, and up to the top of the box here. And this is where price retraced from. Okay, so this is interesting to us. So now you have to ask yourself the question, where are we relative to the flows? Where are the flows currently moving? And you can see that we had this very deep retracement back to here. So price poked into this accumulation. We left. The slingshot was pulled back and we left, so we had a buy zone here. Okay, price went through that. We moved to the lows, which is just here. This is the monthly chart, so the detail is gone. We poked just past this, the buy zone. The buy zone was the low of this candle. We poked just past it, and then we went up. Okay, and then we formed this really nice parent-child just here. So we have the child, and we have the parent just here. Price tested that 3 times, and now we're moving away. We have a lot of selling up here. We've managed to move through this. We are moving lower. Price is moving low, and we form a couple areas of supply above price. We'll probably see some clarity on the weekly chart. So I'll move to the weekly and zoom out. And here you can see much clearer what's going on. Price poked down to these very low levels. Okay, let me delete all these. And now we're starting to move away. An interesting area that we have is here. This is a very nice cutaway. So I'll mark that off 2 times the area, so about like that. This is a very interesting area for us to be aware of. At about the 6600 area, and price is about it's difficult to see, about 320 pips away from that. Okay, this is a very interesting area. Okay, because when price left here, we managed to move below all of these lows. So I just found like an average for the lows. Okay, here we have a low, test, 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 and it's gone. And the area that is responsible for causing price to trade below this this price window, considered attractive. Let's just mark it off like that. And we know that this is attractive price because last time price was there, we left, but now it's gone. So the area that caused that is, we have a couple of areas. We have this one sat on it, we sat on it, and this one cut through it. So the origin of the move that removed this weekly demand is here. This is the one that did it, and I say this because the slingshot was pulled back here and then we left. So we have a very nice sell zone from here to about here, just below price. Okay, so we go to the daily chart and have a gander. And you can see what's going on there. You can see that we have this. This is what we have. Okay, so price is kind of wriggled lower. We moved down, we moved up, we moved away, and we had some volatility here. Price pulled up. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. News, obviously. And then price left. Okay, so currently we're reacting at this area of the daily supply, which is a nice area, but it looks like we might go a little bit deeper into it. So let's have a look at why the price would do that. And you can see that we have the parent-child thing going on once again. So we look in here. We actually have, this is the child, this is the parent, and this is not a great parent. I mean, nothing really happened here. Price didn't leave and stay away. Price came down and went back to it. So we want to look higher. Okay, this is interesting here. Okay, but I think this one is already, yeah, I mean, this has been removed. The area that did it is this one here. So you could say, okay, well, let's be buyers then and buy here. This would be an interesting shorter term trade. Do twice the size right there at about the 62.37, because this is the one that removed that area that we just saw. Okay, you want to be careful buying and expecting it's going to go on forever, because it won't. What we need to do now is we need to find those areas, those price points where price left and price has not been back to. Okay, so we have this one. Price has not been back there. But price, this is testing a child, this is the parent. So the only one that I see that I think is in the slightest bit interesting and still not that interesting is this one here. This is the one that we have that is pretty mediocre. Why? Because there's a lot of slow trading prior to that, and then price didn't really do anything. So there's nothing really to do until much higher. I mean, we have this, but price has kind of already traded at these areas here. And so, I mean, looking at this, come on, is that not a rectangle? So there's nothing really to do. Let's have a look. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on there. There's not a lot of supply. Let's go to the weekly. I mean, there's nothing really to do until higher. Okay, we have this one here. This is still untested. We have this one here. This is at the top. This could line up nicely with that trend line, but there's nothing really to do here. We're probably going to get some intraday trades, and you can take those, and that's fine. But I mean, if you look at the major swings, we have a high. Let me draw these out. High, low, high, low. We connect these. I mean, this leg here originated from this area here, and so ideally we want to move up to the high of this, which will bring us up to around here. This is an attractive area to sell at, looking at kind of taking a macro stance. Okay, this is not that interesting. We're probably going to get some bounces here. We're probably going to get some bounces here as well. But longer term, I mean, there's not a whole lot to look at. I'm thinking that buying somewhere down at micro demand would be a better trade than selling, unless we're selling up here or much higher. Okay, if you look on the daily chart, let's see if we have something. You see, this is that area that we saw. This is the daily area, and just above here, this is where we have that area that looked interesting. But looking on this time frame, it doesn't look that interesting at all. The one I think is better looking is this one here, but we do have this one here. I mean, price came up, we pulled back, and this is the one responsible for removing the one over to the left, but this is okay. Then we do have this area here, which I don't like because of all the trading. This one here looks nice, or looks better rather. This one here looks better, and then we have the one here which looks okay as well. It goes on a 4-hour. They're probably looking better. See, I like these two better. You can see the ones I marked off. This looks okay. This looks okay. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But it looks like we're going to maybe have a bit of retracement before we continue marching higher. Okay. Let's have a look at the Euro American dollar. This is one I'm watching patiently. Euro American dollar. I'm watching this patiently because we have the American dollar, which is looking to move lower. We have the euro, which is wriggling high. You can see it's flirting with strength, as you can see. And so we want to try and find the spot that we can expect price to move to and then move away from. So if you go to the weekly chart, you can see that we've exhibited huge strength here from these lows here. We have an area that's formed below. Let's have a look on a small time frame for clarity. Yeah, we do have some areas forming, but above price, I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing until much higher. There's nothing until much higher. We had these price levels here that were challenged and then compromised. Okay. We have this one here. Price went up. Sat on it, tested, removed it. So we have something here, around here. And what else do we have? We have price turning from here. On this area here, let me mark off. So testing. It's gone, but notice that he did not manage to hold below it. We went back. So the trade that was able, the move that was able to stay below it originates from here. Price came up, we tested it, went through it, we formed this area, we traded through it, we tested it, and then we left, and we have not been back. And so this is an interesting area because this is the one that showed strength. So I'd be looking, that's interesting, but looking at this, it doesn't show a whole lot of strength, but due to the fact that our technical approach shows us that this is the one that's responsible for moving the one further to the left, that these are all testing. This one tried to remove, and this one removed. This is potentially an interesting place, the 115.70ish area. Okay, so I like that. I also like, we are at a sell zone here. Price is just here. We've poked into it. We talked about this a couple of days ago. This is also a place. Price is getting pretty close to positive variant territory. pretty close. What's this set to? This is 2.0. Yes, we're getting pretty close. This is serious stuff here. Tested. This is the area. Do 2 times the size from around here. So this is the 111.60. Price is getting close to that, but we're not really showing any kind of, like any signs that there's huge selling going on at that level. When I say that, I mean, I'd like to see something. I like to have a level like so. I like to see kind of price go up, move up to it, and then leave quickly, and then have another go, then leave quickly. We don't see that here. There's no like really strong departures unless we go maybe to the hourly. Maybe we can see something, but on this time frame there's not a lot. Yeah, a little bit retreat, but nothing major. I'm thinking price is going to continue to wriggle high. We actually have, we look at the high here. This is about, if we look at the highest push is here. So let's have a look left, see what we reacted on. Now you can look at that. Isn't that crazy how this is the sell zone, obviously, for this area. This is the area of supply. This is the sell zone. So this is where price came to. This is the highest test so far since that. And we went a little bit deeper on the next one, but that's interesting. But when I see this, what do we have here? Price has already been back to this level here, and this is not nice. So we're forced to look higher. So for putting trades on and leaving them, we need to focus higher. So I'll be keen to put a line on the highs and then scroll and keep looking. Here we have something. We have this, which is interesting. This has been here. How far do we get? Yeah, so we have this as well. Pretty close. And then I'm going to want to look higher. And these are really small areas. That's where price currently is. Let's see if we have any. There's the highs. Yeah, you kind of get lost on MT4 doing this. There's a high. This is where we went to there. So we don't really have any drop-offs. We have this here, which looks interesting. Mark off the high. Remove this one. Yeah. See, and then it brings us back all the way back up to this daily area here. We do have this. Yeah, so for this one, I'm keen to sell, but I want a better price. I want price to move higher. Okay, and it's not there yet. So this is interesting. We got close to the positive variant. What are these doing here? Okay, but we didn't quite get there. Okay, we're looking on the 4-hour chart. We didn't quite get there, and so the more positive this stays, the greater the variant will grow. So the variant will actually grow as we remain positive. So this is going to continue to go like this and constantly adjust to the information that it's seeing in the histogram here. Okay, and so this is nice because it's all dynamic. It's all dynamically calculated and formed, and so we're probably going to continue to grow higher. And so until price manages to get up into here, I think we're probably going to be a little bit higher. We do have a pretty interesting one here. We had this one here, how price came down, we turned around, we sat on it, the slingshot was pulled back, and then we left. But this one chested a child. This is the parent. We have a parent and we have 2 children. So here at the 113.55, it could be an interesting area. The price is still kind of messing around with this, but this is a very sharp release. So this is fresh liquidity entering the market at this price point here. I like that it's fresh. What I don't like is that price is already traded here, but that doesn't matter so much because this is fresh. And so I'm thinking maybe we'll have some intraday reactions to this level here. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot to look at. Look at the Aussie and the yen. Okay, the Aussie is so high, the yen is so weak. What do? Well, you look for Aussie yen shorts. So Aussie yen, where's the Aussie yen? It's here. Let's put that on. So we're looking to short this. So if we go here to the daily chart, yeah, we've looked at this. This is one we looked at. Okay, we're getting very high. We're looking to sell because these two are so extreme. This is so high. Okay, last time other currencies got close to this level. What did they do? They went down. So this is just telling us that we have extreme levels of currency strength, and these extreme levels are not sustainable. They cannot continue forever. Why? Because we need to advertise cheaper prices in order for these very strong moves to continue. Okay, and this is very, very high. Okay, we're starting to turn down. We've started to turn down, and we're doing this at a price point where price is approaching some pretty high areas. And so I'm thinking, when we manage to move up into these highs here, sorry, we looked at the Aussie American dollar earlier, not the Aussie yen. This is new. When we get around here or here, I mean, this is when we're probably going to start to turn lower. We do have a lovely area of demand here. Okay, so we could take this trade on retracement and then follow it up to where we have these areas just here. But we're getting close to positive variance on the daily chart. So just be careful about that if you're buying, and just sit on your hands and wait until price returns to these areas that are high. If we have a look on the weekly chart, I mean, this is an incredible area just here. This one right here is it's a very attractive price just here. Why? Because price gapped down. We left, we tried to come back, we failed, we revisited that sell zone, and this is where we left from. So the highs and above, these are very attractive prices. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see, but we did visit this negative variant, and now we're correcting. But I think that we'll probably move back up into this area here. We can see it on the daily as well very clearly. We start to move up into here, or ultimately up here to this weekly area, then I think we'll see this pair continue to wriggle lower. Okay, we've been going on for half an hour. I'm going to stop it for now. If you have any questions, drop them in the video or the Discord channel. Thanks for watching.